Despite being less than 200 kilometers away from Los Angeles and less than 2 hours when the freeways are clear, we admittedly do not get to San Diego often enough. In fact, the last time we were there was exactly a year ago when our friend Maria Paula came from Colombia for the San Diego Latino Film Festival. She is the artistic director, and her arrival again this year afforded another opportunity to go, as her flight came to LAX and a drive down was in the cards. We get an early but not insane start and plan to make a couple stops. The first is Oli Boli Donuts in Tustin, which has the best donuts in the world, fried to order with delicious fresh ingredients. This is a Meyer lemon and raspberry lychee, both just jaw-droppingly good. Our next stop is Sana'a Cafe in Forest Lake, a very special new Yemeni coffee and tea shop that you can probably read about on Eat the World Los Angeles by now. After these two Orange County breakfast stops, I had a few post offices nearby to check off, including one in the private community of Laguna Woods. Over the past year or so, I keep pulling up to the gate and smiling, asking to take a quick snap of the station, but am never allowed. Now with the drone, I can visit the post office by a different method. Don't tell the very kind, but strict, elder gentleman at the gate, please. After visiting this and two others on the way down to San Diego, I only have 5 more post offices left in all of Orange County that I have not yet photographed. At the far south of the county is San Clemente, which has a pier that I have never been out on yet. Maria Paula and I decide to break up the trip and take a stroll out to the end to see the community, the tourists, the surfers, and fishermen, and get a little fresh sea air. Unfortunately, we run into an hour of bumper-to-bumper traffic on the interstate between San Clemente and Oceanside, so our next stop inland at the Barona Cultural Center and Museum will have to wait until another time because we cannot make it before closing. Driving this way puts us into the San Diego metropolitan area in Lakeside, and we stop into Al Azayam restaurant in El Cajon. Main Street here is sometimes called Little Baghdad, so we stop into this Iraqi joint for some delicious Chaldean cuisine. On past trips to San Diego, Nina and I have eaten at a wide range of Lao restaurants, had fantastic Kenyan food in University Heights, and of course have eaten plenty of Mexican food. I have never met a San Diegan who did not think the tacos in their city were better than in Los Angeles, and while I do not agree, there are very good tacos here. It's just a hop across the border from Tijuana after all, which is a taco heaven. San Diego is also a fun place for tiki bars, both old and new. Most of our time in San Diego took place before I started making these videos, so my sincere apologies for all the Ken Burns style documentary pans. It's just San Diego after all, a pretty fun town that has a lot to see. Go to a baseball game, check out a beautiful view at the downtown library, thoroughly take in the amazing works of art at Chicano Park in Barrio Logan, and use your annual National Parks Pass to get into Cabrillo National Monument for some excellent views of the city and the surrounding bay. Since Nina has to work, Maria Paula and I drive down to San Diego in Jack, my 2008 Volvo C30, which I absolutely adore and would love to photograph more. On the next day, I set off on my own very early to visit a lot of post offices and do a loop through the desert and the Cleveland National Forest in San Diego County. A lot of this route skirts the US-Mexico border and hops through border towns like Tecate. As is almost always the case, the post offices in rural places have way more charm than city stations, taking on the character of the communities they serve. The wide open spaces and lack of people also allow me to get a little more practice flying the drone. After having a lot of fun, I take the scenic route back to San Diego via the extremely creepy Dead Doll Lane in the middle of nowhere and get back to City Heights from the east side. My friends Sam and Adrian moved to San Diego a couple years back, so Maria Paula and I meet them at one of San Diego's many Lao restaurants. Unfortunately, during the morning loop, or more likely on the streets entering the city, a nail had found its way into my passenger rear tire and a slow leak formed. By the end of lunch, the warning light was on, and I get to spend most of the rest of the afternoon at a nearby Pep Boys, seemingly the only place open on Sundays in San Diego. My mind drifts to nicer times at the pier in Imperial Beach, but thankfully, spirits are raised with a visit to Sam and Adrian's new home and dinner in their backyard paradise in Pacific Beach. I also spend the next morning in their neighborhood, taking in a 90-minute walk to visit the beach and pier, which unfortunately is not open to the public. On the way out of town, a classic car shows me the way back home, but of course I am taking the long way, stopping to pick up takeout at a Burmese restaurant in Rancho Bernardo and taking in the very distant snow-capped San Bernardino Mountains views while taking some twisty, beautiful two-lane roads east of Temecula.